Okay, how you doing? This is Kinesiology 231. My name is Adrian. I'll be the instructor for this course. Welcome. And this will be an overview of the syllabi and a course layout for 231. So let me get myself out of the way here. Now, the syllabus itself, and you've read 100 of them already if you've been on campus now, this is probably your second year, but it's an informational document. Informational insofar as it provides information regarding our course, provides information regarding and helps define the relationship between you, myself, and the college. It's a three-party agreement in essence. And it also helps provide information regarding resources on campus. So I hope you file that away, and I'll talk a little bit about that more as we go. But let's talk about our course specifically to start off. So in 231, 3 credit hours. We meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 o'clock in M212. When you come into M building, it's those classrooms that are up front. If you have difficulty or don't know where you're going, just ask the people at the front desk. They'll be happy to help you. I use Blackboard exclusively. I'm an adjunct professor, so I don't have an office. I don't have the ability to carry papers on campus, off campus. I like to do everything in and through Blackboard, so I don't have to worry about carrying much onto campus. Now, my information. My name is Adrian Fleischer. You can feel free to call me Adrian. I have people call me Coach Fleischer, Coach Adrian, instructor, professor. Just as long as Adrian's involved in there somewhere, I'm sure I'll answer. But just so you know, I do have a phone number on campus, but I don't use it. It was assigned to me, and I've had it forever, and I don't even think it really works anymore, but I have to have a phone number in my syllabi. So just so you know, this Fit One number, it's really a number I don't check. Like I said, I'm an adjunct. I don't have a desk. I don't have an office. I don't have a phone sitting on my desk. So the best way to reach me is email. And I want to point this out because it sometimes is an issue with students. Now you'll notice my last name is Fleischer, Fleischer, but my email is afleisch. When I started at Harper, now I think 6 years ago, yeah. They only had X amount of characters you could use in the email address. So they cut off the R on my last name. So I'll invariably get an email from a student saying, Instructor Fleisch, I need help with this homework assignment. It's like, well, it's Fleischer, but okay, fine, I'll be happy to help you. And I've had people in class tell me they can't reach me because they use a Fleischer for the email address. So just realize that even though my last name is Fleischer, the email is afleisch at Harper College. My office location, we have an adjunct office on campus. That's about the best I can do. If we're going to meet, it's probably going to be a stand-up meeting in the hallway or something at the lectern in class. We can also do meetings via WebEx if you like, or some other online medium. My preferred is email. Even though I know that I'll give it back to you within 24 hours. If it's during a weekday, it'll probably be within the hour. I'm pretty prompt when it comes to emails. All I ask is, like, on a Saturday night, I might be at a movie, might be out to dinner. I won't get back to you till Sunday. Got to have a life. All right, so important dates. Monday the 18th, we know the semester begins. We know our class begins on that Tuesday. A couple dates I want you to be aware of. August 25th and November 17th is the last day to drop for a full refund. It's also the last day to withdraw from the course. I hope you never find yourself in a situation where you either want to drop the class or withdraw from the course. But if you find that you're struggling in this class, don't wait until the last minute. Seek me out, find a way to get in front of me. Let's have a meeting. We'll talk it through. We'll find a way to get you through this course, because if you're at 200 level, you're pretty deep in at this point. You don't want to retake the thing, so we'll find a way to make it happen. The college lists, well, we know Thanksgiving is on Thursday, the 27th, and the college lists Thanksgiving holiday being Wednesday. So meaning campus is closed on Wednesday, the 26th. So if you have a Monday, Wednesday class, you don't have classes on Wednesday. Now for our class or course, it's Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're not meeting on Thanksgiving, that's for dang sure. And usually that Tuesday before in that week, I kind of view that as a flex day. I don't offer much in terms of content. I don't offer much in terms of lectures, etc., because I found that usually I have student athletes who are traveling to an invite or a basketball tournament, or people are traveling to go home, or people are just dang checked out, or some people want to get caught up on other schoolwork. So I try to leave the Tuesday before Thanksgiving as kind of a flex day to allow some flexibility, to allow students to be able to get some work done, to travel, etc. And we'll talk more about that in the classroom environment, but just fully expect that we won't have class on that Tuesday. We'll just do something virtual. So Monday, the 1st of December, we come back and we go right a week later into finals. So realize within those 2 weeks, we're going to have a practical final exam on that week when we come back, and then we're going to have a final exam the week thereafter. So it's going to be kind of compressed, right, in the last couple of weeks after Thanksgiving. Prerequisites, you should have read this. You'll know about course outcomes, etc. You should have read that as well. The textbook is Essentials of Personal Training, National Strength and Conditioning Association. That's the ISBN. It's the 3rd edition. This control click will take you right to the link in the bookstore, take you right there to the book. And I will say this, we're going to be spending a lot of time in chapter 11, just so you know. That's where we're going to spend the majority of our time for this course. I'll also be utilizing content from American College of Sports Medicine, and you'll see that in the Blackboard shell, and it's already provided, so you don't have to stress too much about a book there. I already have that loaded up for you. But it's spending a lot of time using their algo to be able to determine coronary heart disease and coronary disease. Now, in course assessments, this is usually where most people want to focus some time. Roughly, we're going to divide the class into 7 modules covering these different domains that are found in chapter 11 of the book. But when it gets down to it, we're going to have 10 lab assignments, 8 book quizzes, 5 case studies, 8 posted response, a written midterm, a practical midterm, a written and a practical final. And you can get the point value, you can do the math at 560. So you know you have to get 504 points to get the A. So start your strategy now to figure out how you're going to get those 504 points. I can't stress this enough. Every term, I have one student or two who are maybe at like 502. And they'll get an email from me saying, hey, do something. I don't care what it is. Maybe do that post and response that you miss and get those 5 points so you get the A, not the B. So, I often find people kind of get right on that cusp, and I'll reach out to you and let you know, but I urge you to stay very aware of where you are in the context of the course and realize these are the points you need for the particular grade levels for the course. Let's scroll down a little bit further. This is a breakdown of the different areas that we saw up here in the grading categories. I'll let you read that at your leisure. When we get down here, this is where it becomes informational, and you have some information from me regarding makeup policies. It's difficult to do the labs, makeups for the labs, just for a simple fact that we're partnering up with people and we're working with different people, and we have to do things that are kind of hands-on. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge to make up those labs. But if you find that, like, the battery of your car is dead, you have a flat tire, you're sick, or whatever it is, send me an email so at least we can plan ahead to try to come up with something. All right. With academic dishonesty, just so you know, you'll see this in here as well as some of your other courses. They've started to put verbiage in, including artificial intelligence, chatbots, etc. That is to mean large language models, as well as like Chat GPT, etc. Although it's not well characterized or categorized there. So just realize that I use large language models. I use Grok, I use Chat GPT, and I use these tools to help me revise papers. If I have an assignment, I ask to have ChatGPT help me revise it to make sure I don't have any grammatical errors, etc. And so to that end, I disclose on the front end to you guys, as I am right now, that I use those as a tool. Now, you as a student, if you use it as a tool to write one of your papers and you submit your paper with a reference and I use that reference, I cut and paste it into, say, Google Scholar, and it comes up as a dead lead, you just got a 0 on that assignment because you plagiarized it. I know you plagiarized it. So you have to make sure of 2 things when you use large language models, whatever it may be. When you have references, cross-reference your references. And when you use these as a tool, make sure you note that. So, I have my students literally go out and utilize ChatGPT to go ahead and do research, and then I have them cross-reference one of the references provided and then write their paper on the cross-reference that's provided. And then I have my students in the references section denote the fact that they used a large language model to help them and aid them in the research process. That's fair game. But if you just submit a paper with a dead lead in it for a reference, that's going to earn you a big fat 0. So just realize how the context is changing in terms of the college environment, in terms of disclosure. But I would double check this with your other professors. I know I use LLMs as a tool, and I also advocate my students using them as well, but you have to disclose your use. Further down, there's some other disclosures regarding equal opportunity statement, equal educational statement, things about student conduct. What I want to get into though is this, past FERPA stuff and all that. If you have issues with Blackboard, we have an entire section in here that you can use to help sort out any issues you may have. You might call the service desk or send them an email. Further down, we have support and resources. Now, I want to point this out, and I bring it up every term. No student ever needs to suffer in silence. Not ever. We have so many resources on campus, and you're in such a resource-rich environment. Frankly, it's probably the most resource-rich environment you'll ever be in your life, unless you go to U of I or Northwestern or another college. But use this area of a syllabi, mine or another, as a resource. If you have food insecurities, housing insecurities, difficulty getting to school because of transportation, you're talking about Hawks Care, counseling services if you have issues relative, maybe something's happening in your home life, or you're not feeling well in terms of your mental health. You have resources on campus. So I would urge you to scroll through this document, or just take a look as I'm scrolling through slowly and kind of look at some of the information points here. Like student success with academic advising, you all have an advisor, so that's not a surprise to you. But with academic support, everything from the anatomy room straight down to the tutoring and writing center, these are resources available to you to help you be a better student and develop your skill set. ADS, now if any of you have any kind of accommodations, I'll already know about it before class starts, but if you have some issues in terms of you need a test read to you, I'd rather do that than send you to the testing center, just for a simple fact that the testing center won't be able to answer your questions in the moment. Whereas if I'm sitting next to you reading you your test, I can go ahead and do that in the moment. But beyond that, you have computer lab, shop placement center, etc. I'm scrolling through this a little bit quickly because I want to get down to the last part. The library, these folks are highly skilled at helping students find the right information they need to write papers. Military, student service desk for technical support right there. So again, just kind of file this away that this is a bit of a resource document for you to help you. All the way at the bottom, we have the course schedule. Now in a course schedule, as I mentioned, there's 7 kind of main areas, and I tried to break this out in terms of the ACSM information on the front end, where we're talking about the health history and the risk screening, and then we get into a body composition segment, a cardiovascular endurance segment. We have a midterm practical, then we get into speed, agility, quickness, and some of the other conditioning type tests. And then we get into muscular strength, power, endurance tests, flexibility, posture alignment, movement assessments, and then down here we have a conversation about training load, etc. Thanksgiving week, then we have our final practical exam, then the actual final exam itself. So there's a lot coming at you in a short amount of time, because the way the class lays out, you go, okay, I have 17 weeks, but really no, you have 14, right? And really, if we take away the midterm that we see up here, you got 13 weeks that we're doing this in. So it's going to be a lot of content in a short amount of time. I try to break this out, and I have it set up where it's all this information is due on the 14th. So you'll see this module or section, week 3, week 4 starts on the 1st, ends on the 14th. Everything's due on the 14th. I would urge you, as we go through, one of the labs will be done in the first part. The second lab will be done in the second part of this 2-week module. Maybe you just take it on, tackle it, get it done, and be done with the first one, and try to get your post and response done, and then you can work on the book quiz thereafter. Just come up with some strategies to help you with this process. But regardless, when it comes down to it, you can always email me. You can always get in front of me in class. We can have a conversation on how we can go ahead and find a way to best position you to do well and be successful in this course. So, all right, guys, I'm going to sign off here. I'm already at like 14 minutes, and I'm going to move on to my next presentation. You guys have a good one, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you guys in class.